and I'm just like every other teenager, obsessed with their phone. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't live with devices, but in my free time, I always seem to be on, you guessed it, my phone. As a first-hand witness of such trend, I want to address this growing issue that all of us have, our short attention span. In other words, how it went from top-notch to basically nothing. By the end of this speech, you'll be able to enlarge these attention spans in multiple different ways. We, as humans, all just naturally adjust to the daily trends and new things in our lives, probably without even realizing it. Let's take a look at how my parents' generation experienced technology. We can see people who grew up without even knowing the existence of smartphones. But in a few decades, the status of them will slowly evolve from being a few chip buttons to being our best friend. Let's look at a more specific example of my mom. When she was my age, she probably would have guessed that these things would be so portable. Now, she uses her phone in everyday life. From opening Google Maps to taking me to school, to utilizing YouTube mainly as a source of entertainment, all impacted by the trend of carrying, using, buying these cell phones. Have you ever observed the growing trend of technology? Who do you think adapted first? The technology which adapted to our needs for entertainment, or us, the humans, who adjusted to this new technology so beyond what we saw in the past? There is not one answer to this question because adaptation goes both ways. As technology constantly adapts to our needs, like the need for entertainment or quick search, we at the same time try to tune ourselves to match its development. And nowhere is this more apparent than the way in which we consume content. This co-evolution has taken place since the start of technology. However, recently it has taken the steering wheel. As it advances, our thoughts, feelings, and actions are all being shaped by the content in which we consume endlessly. I can see my friends give up on their homework just to return to the cause of their short focus in the first place. Short form content are just too addictive for us to put down, and we are surprisingly unconcerned about it. We don't even realize we're hurting our brains, damaging this attention span that we have with the short form content. When I first got this idea to talk about your, or say our, shorter attention span, it's not just the data from the internet that got me to think about this topic. One time, I went on YouTube Shorts because I was bored. I wasn't aware a single minute had passed when I looked at the clock to see that hours had passed while I was spent scrolling. I saw that I had missing assignments I didn't even complete, and I had text messages and emails I needed to reply to. This shows that short-form content has a huge impact in our lives, and it is not positive. The short-form content has affected our attention span to a point where now our attention span is shorter than goldfishes. The average attention span of a person is now 8.25 seconds, unlike a goldfish, which holds a 9-second attention span. Isn't that just crazy? Now, I want to test this with a little survey. Please raise your hand if this applies to you. Who here has never checked their phones while working? I see that not a lot of hands is raised. Who has never watched a video without skipping till the end? Finally, who is still focused on his next speech? Thank you. You may put your hands down. Let's discuss the culprits, like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels. Now, all of these seem to grow in popularity during the year 2020, especially YouTube Shorts, which are now whooping 26% of YouTube videos. That's crazy, considering the fact that it was only implemented all back in September of 2020. So, what happened, and why are all of these videos suddenly rising to popularity? Well, people changed, and the decreasing attention span, which I mentioned before, now comes into play. All short-form content suddenly rose into popularity during the year 2020. A major factor, of course, was the COVID pandemic, when we were forced into our homes with little to no entertainment, except for the online world, where everything seemed to stay as lively as ever, if not even more livelier. Yet, even after the pandemic was over, the shorts were still a hit among everyone of all ages. Now, ask yourself, why would you prefer short-form content or YouTube Shorts over regular videos? People tend to lean towards the shorter videos because of how it is formatted. Each creator was only allowed to upload a maximum of 1 minute in the YouTube Shorts case, which means that they only need the people's attention for 1 minute maximum. Whereas a video on the same topic is boring as it gets to details. You might disagree with me, but I think 10 minutes is way too much commitment. Come on, I'm on the clock. I cannot wait for this one random guy to finally drop that important piece of info. This convenience might be why people are switching to the shorter videos and saying goodbye to the longer ones. Consider this perspective. We, the audience, are like fish swimming with the current. Relating this to our TEDx theme this year, changing currents, the various currents represent the different trends of technology. We continuously shift from one current to another, getting pulled from all sorts of directions and adapting to evolving technologies along the way. Our brains are undertaking this tumultuous sailing trip of change firsthand, getting tossed about between the tumbling waves, an image that also encapsulates our own individual battles against the downfall of attention spans. Don't worry though, there are ways to prevent this change from happening. One is to simply log out, or as our generation likes to say it, touch grass. You can simply choose not to participate in watching the videos, which can prevent you from being influenced by them in the first place. Another effective alternative is exercising. Whenever I go on a run with my dad or my sister or my mom, my thoughts always seem more alert as I exercise. This is not just a good feeling, but it's actually backed up by research. Studies from Johns Hopkins Medicine show that exercise can produce new brain cells through a process called neurogenesis. I'm not here to explain the scientific facts, but what I wanted to say is that exercise can definitely help improve your brain performance overall and help you in sustaining your focus. However, if you're new to it like me, you might find this hard to follow. You might think, disconnecting with my entertainment? No, thank you. There are easier ways. For one, you can set a limit on viewing these short-form content by perhaps setting a timer or setting screen time. That way, you can stop yourself from getting too immersed into short-form content and it's never-ending scrolling. Another effective alternative is to do some exercises which can help lengthen your attention span. Although we do not have enough time today, I wanted to introduce the concept of box breathing. It is where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and hold that for 4 seconds, following along the lines of the box. Although this may seem like some effective exercise, which literally has no impact on our attention spans, it's actually really effective. Studies from the National Library of Medicine show that participants experience immediate improvement after just 15 minutes of doing this box breathing technique. This goes on to say that techniques like box breathing can most definitely help you in sustaining your focus. We cannot continue this ongoing cycle of only taking attention span, only taking interesting content. It has a huge impact in our lives, and it is not positive. Do not spend all your time in social media scrolling. Instead, perhaps take a walk. Unplug yourself from the short-form content. Be the change that you need to be for your own well-being, for your brain. Take the initiative to consider your attention span the next time you watch short form content. But know this, you are benefiting yourself by not getting stuck on internet's deadliest trap, short form content. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk.